Mo Salah poised to finally play his first game for Liverpool since New Year's Day. He's returned to full training this week. He scored twice in a 4-2 win over Newcastle on the 1st of January before he went to AFCON with Egypt. They crashed out in the last 16, but Salah had sustained a muscle injury during the group stages that sent him home early. Liverpool have been in very good form without him, though. I did say to all of you that I thought this period would be indicative as to what Liverpool we might get if Mo Salah were allowed to leave the club in the summer with a year left on his deal, with the Saudi Pro League circling. And I have to say, I was impressed by what I saw. Liverpool played 8 times without Salah. They won 6, drew 1, lost 1 in all competitions, but they scored 22 goals in those 8 games. They averaged 2.7 per match. So, looking pretty good without him. That's all I'm going to say. With Jurgen Klopp leaving in the summer, are Liverpool in the right place to cash in on the Egyptian king? That's my question for you. If you were a Liverpool fan, with Jurgen Klopp leaving in the summer, with a year left on his deal, is it all coming together to finally say, thank you very much, Mo? Let's take the 150 million. Let's give it to the new manager to help build his side. Give us a call, 03717 223344. What do you think, Lianne?
You know what I think, Hugh, and
I know, but it's a radio show.
I will tell you again and again and again, and I've said it on here before, I love Mo Salah. Even though I'm a Man United fan, he's a top, elite centre-forward. They don't come along very often. Haaland, Kane, Salah. I don't think, even if you get 150, if he's going to leave eventually at the end of his contract, you don't let him go on a free, right? But if Mo Salah leaves Liverpool, 150 mil, who are you going to get to replace a player like that? Now, you look at Liverpool's team. You've got Jota, Nunez and Diaz. They are not Mo Salah. Cody Gakpo will never be Mo Salah. harsh. So for me, I like what it's true though. Not many players will be Mo Salah. What do you mean harsh? Not many people will be Mo Salah.
But hold on, let me just put this into context. At the start of Mo Salah's career, people would have said Mo Salah is never going to be Mo Salah. Give Cody Gakpo a chance. I'm just saying it's a bit harsh.
He's not going to be Mo Salah though.
You don't know.
Yeah, but he's not going to be because we've not seen many Mo Salahs in the league. What other players have got these numbers? Like Mo Salah, Harry Kane, Aguero, Erling Haaland.
Gareth Bale wasn't going to be Gareth Bale.
They don't come along very often.
Harry Kane wasn't going to be Harry Kane at the start of his career. He was on loan, 3-4 clubs, never really showed it. He's a world-class striker.
I love Mo Salah.
All I'm saying is, from what I've seen from those four at Liverpool, as a unit together, they have enough to go on without Mo Salah and still be contenders next season, depending on who the manager is that comes in.
I disagree.
I
think Mo Salah is that good. Okay, yeah, they're top of the league and they've been doing okay since he went to the African Cup of Nations. But I think long term, I don't think you can really replace a player like Mo Salah.
But that's a very interesting point that you stress. Long term. Now, is Mo Salah going to be at the club long term? Unless you're going to give him a good contract, and he's going to want a good contract. And by the way, his agent's going to sit down with you and say, this is what he's got on the table, 100 million a year in the Saudi Pro League, if not more. So what are you offering him? And Liverpool say, all right, shall we commit to a long-term deal for Mo Salah, who's going to be 32 years old at that point in time, because he's going to want £400,000 a week.
Give it to him.
Yeah?
Yeah, give it to him. If I'm a Liverpool fan and I want Mo Salah, I'd want Mo Salah. Why not? He's been so good for them. I understand what you're saying about getting in 150 mil to redevelop, but I think a player like Mo Salah, you keep him at the club as long as you can. I really do. And I think his agent has every right to ask for whatever he is asking for. Mo Salah deserves it. He does. That's the reality. Like, they just don't come along very often. These types of centre-forward, Hugh, they don't. And I think sometimes when they leave the Premier League, we then finally realise just how good they are. Same as when Messi's going to retire and Cristiano Ronaldo, we'll realise the numbers that they've been putting up for years, for consistent years, how lucky we were to have players like that playing.
What do you think about the squad at Liverpool? I know the rumours, Virgil van Dijk kind of said, look, I was not misquoted, but kind of misunderstood about, next summer I'll have to look at my future. I think he was kind of saying, look, all of us have had different reactions to the news that Jurgen Klopp is going to leave the club, and for some of us, we'll be just really sad to see him go, and it might change how we feel about being here. I mean, it was essentially just a human reaction, so I wouldn't be against what Virgil said because he's had such an impact on the club, Jurgen Klopp. But ultimately, whoever comes in next is going to find it so hard to replace. Aside from the football, the tactical stuff, the relationship with the crowd inside Anfield, what he can draw from them in all of those home games, that it drained him. So there was clearly something that he was putting in that was taking something out of him, but put so much into his team and had some really special nights. And I think it is one of those jobs where whoever's next is, whether you've got Virgil van Dijk, whether you've got Mo Salah or not, it's kind of a hide into nothing. So you almost feel like, I know it's in a weird way, it's like, well, do you know what? Give me the money to spend. If Virgil leaves or if Mo leaves, whoever, you don't want both of them to go, that's for sure, but whoever goes, let me try and build my own squad. And you've maybe got, and I hate to say an excuse, but people go, well, he doesn't have Mo Salah. And if you're not going for the Premier League title, you can turn around and say, well, it was always going to be like that. We've lost our best player. We're building something. It gives the new manager, I don't want to say an excuse, but a mitigating circumstance.
I think, whoever takes over at Liverpool, I'm not comparing Jurgen Klopp to Sir Alex Ferguson before people come after me. I'm saying the legacy that he's left at that club and the relationship with the fans and the feeling is exactly how those fans will be feeling. So I feel whoever gets the job next, if it's Xabi Alonso, great, because that I think it's more of a romance thing. Yes, he's doing great with Leverkusen, but he's the name that's being thrown around, and Roberto De Zerbi. But I personally wouldn't want to be the next manager after Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. You'd almost want to see who goes in there next. Similar to David Moyes at Man United, it was always going to be a difficult one. So whoever goes in there will have to go in there and get the ground running with Mo Salah or without Mo Salah. The fans would expect, the club to keep continuing to push on. And this has been such a big shock to everybody.
I don't think they do, actually.
You don't think the fans want the club to push on?
No. You said expect. I think you would expect that losing Jurgen Klopp, one of the best managers in the world, is going to be a blow. You won't expect them to improve without him. That's my point.
No. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean to improve without him. I mean, meet those same expectations. Yeah. I think if someone comes in and, Virgil van Dijk leaves, Mo Salah leaves, it's a massive revamp, isn't it, at the club? And it's a difficult moment for the Liverpool fans because this guy has won their first league title in 30 years. You know what I mean? What a guy he is for that club. And even me, being a Man United fan, like when I heard the news, I was like, I actually felt quite sad about it.
I was stunned.
Because I was like, this is actually weird. Like, it will happen. Pep Guardiola's going to leave Manchester City one day, and it will feel, the same feeling. We all used to seeing these types of managers on the sideline. But I think Xabi Alonso going in there, it seems like a lot of the fans want him. It's that romance of a former player going back to that club. But what we've seen, it doesn't always work out that way.
I don't think Xabi Alonso is the guy. One man who maybe does, let's hear what he thinks, is Danny Murphy, who joined White and Jordan a little bit earlier on today. The former Liverpool midfielder discussed Xabi Alonso potentially being the next boss at Anfield.
The reality is, managing Leverkusen and Liverpool is two very different jobs. Liverpool's a powerhouse. Leverkusen's a good club, of course it is, but it hasn't got the same expectations as Liverpool and the same intense pressure every game you play. So part of him would have to learn on the job in terms of that, in that, and dealing with the type of players he'd have to deal with at Liverpool, like Salah, like Van Dijk. He's not got that issue at Leverkusen either.
For me, it would have to be Roberto De Zerbi, I think, just for the styles, honestly, but also the style of human being, the passion, the intensity. I think it needs to be someone at that level. And Xabi Alonso looks like he's going to be a very, very good coach, and his team's doing fantastically well right now, but he just doesn't bring that same energy. And it's like a non-football thing. It's a non-tactical thing. It's not a tangible thing to put your finger on and say, this is why Klopp's successful. But there is something about his character that drew something out of Liverpool. And as much as Xabi Alonso knows the place, and as much as he is an incredible football brain, I'm sure he's going to have a great, great coaching career. Off the back of Klopp, the next person needs to draw from some of what he did well, and that has to be bringing that same intensity to the role. And I just don't know if Xabi Alonso's that guy.
I agree with you on that. I think when you talk about temperament, the feeling, the passion, Roberto De Zerbi, when he got the Brighton job, a lot of people were thinking, they were going to go downhill when Graham Potter left. And look what happened. Style of play, they almost improved, getting to FA Cup semi-finals. So this type of coach and manager, I believe Roberto De Zerbi would be the right guy to take them to another level. But I said it to you before, Hugh, didn't I? That I felt like Steven Gerrard was almost being, to be the next Liverpool manager. Let's be honest, but he didn't do well at Villa, and now he's in Saudi Arabia, and good luck to him. But I don't think that's ever going to happen, him being the Liverpool manager.
We shall see. Let's go to the lines. Give us a call, 03717 223344 if you'd like to join the conversation. Carl's a Manchester City fan, but he's called about Liverpool. Good evening.
Good evening. How are we? Okay.
Good evening.
Very, very well. I said a little bit earlier on, is this summer going to be the time to cash in on Mo Salah? What do you think?
I think it's got to be. Yeah, unfortunately, I disagree with yourself, Lianne. I think there's only so long you can hold on to these players. Yes, don't get me wrong, he's an unbelievable talent. He is up there with, like you say, your Haalands, your Agueros, your Kanes. But you've got to cash in now. You can't keep holding on. At some point, you've got to go again. Fergie did it for years. Pep's doing it at the moment. He's done it 3 or 4 times, getting rid of Aguero whilst he's still got years in his legs, and you can make some money from him. You pay Salah what he wants now for the next 2 or 3 years, and yeah, all right, you might win a league, you might win a Champions League, but at some point, you've got to rebuild. You've got to go again.
But why does that have to
do that with 0, or would you rather do it with 150 million?
Why does that have to be now? Is my question. You could disagree with me. Not a problem.
Yeah, if you don't do it now, you're not going to get... In 3 years or in 2 years, he's going to want a long-term contract. He's not going to take a 12-month contract. And if you do give him what he wants, you will see no return in 3 years.
So who are you going to get instead of Mo Salah then that can bring the numbers that he's brought to that club? I get cash in 150 mil, but what he could potentially bring you are championships, Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, those types of things. What player are you going to bring in that's going to get those numbers?
No, completely agree with you on that front. But what I'm saying is, at some point, you will have to go again. He cannot play forever. So do you do that? Like you say, all right, you might win a league, you might win a Champions League, and in 3 years' time, he leaves and you get nothing for him. You get no return value.
You get return value because you've won trophies.
Build again. Yeah, but like you say, look at Núñez. Don't get me wrong. When he first came in, thought he was awful. But over the last few games, last few months, he's been banging in the goals. Him, Diaz looks a talent. Like I say, you've got players that are coming through. Give them the chance. And like you touched on before, Kane wasn't Kane until he had the rise to stardom. Bale nearly left Spurs. They nearly sold him because they thought he was garbage. And then look at him. You've got to give those players the chance to grow and to shine. And I think cash in now, get the money for Salah, rebuild.
Let me ask you very, very quickly, if the shoe was on the other foot, had Pep Guardiola said he was leaving Manchester City, I just wanted to go back to a little disagreement I had with Lianne. What would you expect from City after Guardiola? You're treble winners now. Had, say, Roberto De Zerbi be taking over for him next season, what would your expectations be as a fan?
I think it's got to remain the same. You can't expect the level to drop. I know the owners won't let the levels drop, let the standards drop. I think you've got to maintain that standard of we're in every competition to win it. Simple as that. Like you say, De Zerbi, Pep has built something solid and something that will last. I could go in and manage that City team and just carry on what Pep did. As long as you've got that intensity and that desire to win. And I remember one thing Pep said, someone said to him, how do you keep that level of intensity in training? And he said, I don't do anything. My 2 best players, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, they set the pace, they set the tone, and everybody else has to keep up.
So he agrees with me now.
Carl, can you leave your number with our producers? Because there's a few football clubs that might want to hire you if you think you could continue what Guardiola's doing at Manchester City. Appreciate your call.
I don't come for cheap, unfortunately. So.
Kick-off, straight talking and straight to the point. Every Tuesday to Thursday night from 7 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.